Hi, this is Dr. Rugenstein, and we're looking at something that's historic, abandoned, had been moved, and it's the Troy, New York airport. And we're actually where it was originally. Let me turn you around here. And this was probably where the original airport was, up in here. In 1920, it was a private airfield. The cemetery didn't come quite this far over at the time. See those trees way over? 1920, that's where the cemetery ended. This fence wasn't here. This school wasn't here. And it was dedicated July 18th to Joseph P. English. And it was called the Joseph P. English Flying Field on Carroll's Hill. And that's what this is, Carroll's Hill. That's the Carroll's Hill Elementary School. Way over there was the Troy Asylum. All these buildings are here now. And this land was given to this airport, dedicated to the Troy Airport, private field. It was dedicated to Joseph P. English. He was killed in training in England for the British Royal Flying Squadron in World War I. And this is where it originally was. So we're going to start off here, and then we're going to move over to where it eventually was moved to. And we'll take a little drive around here so you got an idea of how flat this area was. It was picked because it was one of the flatter areas. You can't tell here so much, but it's sort of a ravine all the way around here. So with that, we'll pick back up on the drive. So we're going to take a little drive here and give you an idea of just how flat this area really was. And as I said, it was 1920 they were here, and obviously all these houses were in here at the time. This is called Project Road now, and we're just going to go down the street here so you get an idea of how flat this area really was. And we're talking about, you know, World War I aircraft, that sort of thing, early 1900s. So they didn't need a huge field, but you can kind of get an idea of just how flat this was. And probably, I'm not sure if it was way over into where the houses are now, but probably this was used. It doesn't say anything about hangars or anything like that. It just talks about it being a flat area where they were able to fly from. We're just going to turn around down here. And come back the other way. Guys, let me go. And this is, as I said, Carroll Hills Elementary School. And I often wondered, I substituted here long ago, 20 years ago, I guess. And I couldn't figure out why it was called Carroll Hill, thinking that was maybe named after somebody, since most of these schools here are School 18, School 16. My grandsons go to School 2 and School 18, and so I was always wondering why it was like that. But in any case, that's why it's called Carroll Hill, and that's what this area was called. Now, in 1928, a airport corporation was formed, and it moved the airport, and it bought land, and we're going over there right now. So it's on the other side of Campbell Avenue. At one time it was called Campbell Road. And I want to make sure we don't hit anybody here. It's a Sunday afternoon. And so in any case, they bought 82 acres of the Van Valkenburg farm. And that's where we're going to now. Now here is Colleen. I think it's Colleen Avenue or Colleen Street. I can't remember right off the top of my head. But this was actually originally called English Avenue. Colleen Road it's called, okay. But it was called English Avenue originally. And this was the way up to the airport. Now I'm going to stop up here for just a second. And kind of take a look around here a little bit. We're just going to pull in right here for a second and see if we can stay out of the trouble here. So hold on, and we'll get back to it. So I'm back out of the car, as you can see. This was originally called English, and the road is now new, but it actually went down straight where the fire station is. And you'll see on the old maps, and I've put up old maps already here, of how the street came up. It went down this way, and then it went up towards the flatter area, and that's where we're heading to right now. Now we're heading back up the hill here, and up here at the top was the hangar and airport building. And that's where we're heading to right now. Now you'll see on a later map, I think it's a 37 or 40 map, that the airport has two roads coming up. This is a crossroad to it. But over here where we find the Robert H. Gibson Technical School, this in here, is about the location of the hangar. And so we're going to just stop here a second and walk around and talk about what was here at one time. Now, where we are right now is Questar. And back where I'm from, they would have probably called it BOCES. In any case, it's sort of the hands-on part of high school education, that sort of thing. Let me turn it around here and give you a better view of what this area was like. Now, as I said, in 1928, the Airport Corporation was formed, and they moved it, but bought land up in here, 82 acres. There was a hangar and building built. The building was for airmail. And like I said, this is from the map, from the photographs. Right in here was where the hangar was. Right in here was where the building was. Unfortunately, by 1933, because of the Depression, it just went under. It was foreclosed in 1933. They wanted to have a bunch of improvements done, but it just wasn't done. In 1934, it was auctioned off and bought by the Troy Aviation Field Incorporated. Leased it to the city for $10 a year, which was around $239 today in our prices today. And then in 1937, it was rededicated as a city airport. The entrance, that road that we came up on, was named English Avenue. The one we're going to go out on is Hainer. It's now Donegal and Colleen. 1940, war broke out, and from 1940 to 1945, the airport was closed to train military pilots, which it did. And then what we find, 45, the airport operations changed hands. There's a couple of helicopters over there. That's interesting. Pardon me. In any case, there was plans to make improvements. Didn't happen. In 1950, it was still used for private planes, flight schools. 1953, Hudson Valley Community College, which is over around here, but in a different location, was going to take part of it. But by this time, by 1960, pardon me, by 1960, Albany was seen as the air hub. 61, Troy Industrial Park formed. The city lease was terminated. It's still used by private pilots for a while. And then in 64, the airport closed. '69, part of it was used as a landfill. We'll go right down that way. And by 1973, it was a housing development. And that's what we have here today. So this was the Troy Airport. We'll drive around a little bit and give you a feel of the area. But what could have been is now no longer. So with that, we're going to get in the car, and I'm going to drive you around where the airport field was. So let's take a drive. So this is where we were just standing out here. And this part here, this would all have been part of the field, part of the airfield itself down in through here. Planes would have taken off, landed. I'm not quite sure where the field would have ended, but you can look at the maps and see what's going on here. Now, all these streets back in here were none of these were here, obviously. This is all part of the build-up. This was the airfield itself. Coming down here, you won't be able to see it, but on the other side of this fence, back over in there, was the landfill. We're going to make a U-turn here. We're not going to drive down in there, but that's the landfill there. That was filled in. It was a gorge that was filled in for a landfill. But this was all. Just think about the airplanes from 1920s to 1960s that took off from here. And at the end, it was mostly private pilots, things of that nature. You have to wonder what it was like to taxi up to the building. It was a grass field. Now they wanted to make a macadam field at one point, but again, that just never occurred. It just didn't have enough logistics, I guess, enough money coming into it, capital, I guess, if you want to think of it that way. Now this road here, you'll see on the map, is a much later road. The one that's straight ahead of us was English Road. It was there since the original airport was in. This road comes across, and we'll go to Dongle Road, which was actually Hainer Road. And then we're come up over this way, and we have one more stop at part of the airport. All these homes were in here, of course. None of this was here. But as I say, we have one more stop. We're back on Campbell Avenue. Might find a break in here. Nope. And where we're pulling into right now is called Franklin Terrace. It was known as, check the description now, always check the description. But it was also known as Mario's, I believe. But this has a little special thing here too, and we'll stop and take a look. What you're looking at here is the Franklin Terrace Ballroom. And there's been a lot of additions to it and things of that nature. But the reason I'm stopping here is that this was originally the Airport Inn. It went through look at the description, check the descriptions. There's a lot of information there about the pedigree of who owned it and how it went from one thing to another and how it became Franklin Terrace. And there's no doubt there's been remodeling, but I bet you can see some of the old bones here still from when this was the airport inn. Think of the people that used it, that were connected to the airport in one way or another. And you can see you can tell this is part of the old part here. And as I said, it's had a number of additions. And over there, that's Hainer Road that we just came down. Up on there, up there was where the airport was, a large flat area. And so, although the airport's gone, there's still some memories of it here, and this is one of them here, Franklin Terrace. So with that, you've seen a little bit of what was Troy Airport. Long gone, but still remembered by many people. And so with that, I just want to say thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you get a little idea of what the airport was like and a little bit more what Troy was like. And as I usually say, please subscribe, ring the bell, hit the like button, leave a comment, tell others. Give me ideas. People have done that too. So with all that, you just have a nice day. Quite an elevation there. The airport inn.